How's it going, Mikey?
Yeah, mate, I'm good. I'm good. Just another day in the madness of what seems to be 2020.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It wouldn't be a Dave Arcari live stream if it wasn't a technical, mental thing going on. But if you've just tuned in, you probably know why you've tuned in. Hello and welcome to the whiskey tasting and live music live stream. And it's going to be much better this time because it's not just me banging away the tunes and drinking whiskey, drinking this whiskey no less, but I am being joined by Smokehead brand ambassador live on the live stream, Mr. Mikey Sim. Mikey, hello, and tell us a little bit about yourself and your role.
So I've been kind of working really closely with Smokehead over the last couple of years, and I work within E McLeod and within the UK and across a whole load of brands, but one of the kind of brands that I've kind of molded into just kind of happened. I ended up kind of this title, brand ambassador for Smokehead. So I don't know how it happened, but again, you get thrown a bone, so you just kind of roll, you just kind of run with it. So yeah,
It's a pretty good bone, man.
yeah, I know. To be fair, a lot of my friends say it could be worse. It could be a lot worse. I could be trying to peddle some pish brand. And unfortunately for us across all our products, they're pretty good. So yeah, I'm a lucky boy.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm trying to look at some comments here, and I just want to say a couple of hellos out to Paul Breers and Stacey Dervin and Billy Clark and Barry Cregan. Hey, Barry, across there in Texas, we were having a little video thing earlier on. Cheers. Hello, Melanie Buchanan, Eileen McLaughlin, Q Stafford, Bob Wrinkley-Bottom. Bob, you need to get some of this Smokehead in you to smooth out that bum. Hello, Susan Harris. Mail, even. Right, I'm going to put the iPad down because I'm feeling that I'm not giving you or the folk watching proper attention. But I thought a lot of people ask about Smokehead and a lot of people ask about whiskey because they know I kind of quite like this stuff. And I thought it'd be interesting for not everybody knows how all this came about. And I'm not even sure if you know how it came about, Mikey, or did I just
I've
appear
heard I've
somebody?
I've heard the folklore. It's almost a tale. Ian McLeod and Smokehead.
Because it all started off about 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago with Glengoyne, your sister company.
Yeah,
And I got in tow with them because Glengoyne's our local distillery here in the east side of Loch Lomond. It's only 7 or 8 miles away. And so I got in tow with them, was doing a US tour, took some Glengoyne with me. People got taste for it, and it was great fun. It was pretty successful. We did lots of things together. Even wrote some Glengoyne songs. There's a banjo song called Whiskey Trail because well, there's a bit of a story to why that came about, but I'll tell you later on when I play a different song. And anyway, when National Reso-Phonic Guitars decided they wanted to do a signature guitar well over a year ago, it was a year past January, and I came back from the NAMM show where I was with them, all excited about this, and I thought this is a great PR opportunity for whiskey as well.
yeah.
And your colleagues at Glengoyne reckoned that Smokehead would be a better fit. And I have to say, well, at the time, this is again another story. We'll delve into this later on. But as soon as I kind of went through the website and saw the branding and that Smokehead does it differently. It's not for everyone. If you don't like it, you can piss right off. And I just that totally embodies my attitude to life, to
Yeah.
music, to everything.
I
So
think that's why they gave me the job as well.
but you're kind of presentable at least.
Well, yeah, no, that's true. I'll take that as a compliment.
It's so what about, I mean Smokehead in general, how long's it been going, Mikey?
So Smokehead, I actually had this conversation earlier on as well. It's one of these ones when we have kind of conversations with people outside who are kind of close to the brand. Everyone's like, so how long's it actually been going along for? So 2005 is the answer, which seems like an awful long time ago. I think I said this earlier on to one of my colleagues. 2005, I was still in high school.
Yeah, I wasn't born yet.
I wasn't even of legal drinking age. I say legal softly. We're all from Scotland, so yeah, I think 2005 and then 2006 was when the first kind of liquid was bottled, and it was on a boat with our managing director, a guy called Leonard Russell. Was sitting with our then market manager at the time and now brand director of Smokehead, Ian Weir, and they were sitting on a boat in Isla, and it was Isla. I want to say it was Isla Festival, and they were looking at all these people who were over in Isla for Isla Festival or Isla Fest, or whatever you want to call it, and they were like, you know, there's actually quite a young crowd here, and there's people who are like a little bit different and whatever it may be, and Leonard's like, oh yeah, they're just smokeheads and they just love the smoke and all that. And then 2006, so kind of on from there, Ian McLeod released Smokehead, and we built a brand, and it really kind of took off in Scandinavia, as well as partly in the UK, a little bit in the US, a little bit in the Far East. And we went through a kind of transitional period where we had stock, and then we couldn't get stock through supply problems. Just kind of the global demand of whiskey rose, so it was harder to get your hands on stock. Sorry if you hear a bark. That's my dog just behind the door, just in case you think, what the hell is he actually up to? Here he comes. Hey, buddy. So yeah, it kind of threw me off there. Out you go. Sorry. Come on. Oh, you just ran in the door. Quality.
I thought we were going to get him on camera.
We can get him on. Where is he? Come here. No, he's now going to run away. He doesn't want to play ball. He might make an appearance in a second. So yeah, where was I? So we kind of grew, and then we had a slight decline just because we had that issue with stock, and that was just kind of the global demand on whiskey kind of shot up, so people just held on to their stock a little bit more. And at that point, we owned Glengoyne. 2002 was when we purchased Glengoyne, but we didn't have a kind of stream of Islay supply. And a couple of years ago, I want to say kind of 3 or 4 years ago, we secured a contract to have a constant stream of Islay, and that kind of gave us the confidence again to then rebrand and move on to building and start working with people like yourself, working with some of the other partners we worked with, a guy called Tyler Longsword, who built the smoker bike to Ducati, and guys at Dram and Smoke, who kind of threw these big kind of feasts up and down the UK for us. So that was kind of the building blocks. So that was, how many years ago was that? I want to say 2 and a bit years ago. So we're looking at 2018, kind of early 2018, kind of late 2017, early 2018. And yeah, and we've just kind of gone from strength to strength. We now obviously we started off with the original Smokehead, which I can see beautifully presented in front of you. And then we had the release of the High Voltage, which we're going to talk about, and we had the release of the Sherry Bomb, again a couple of years ago, and then we had the release recently of the Rum Rebel, which I know you've also managed to swag yourself a full bottle of as well, which we can have a laugh about at the moment, but would cause a massive stress for you earlier on. So that kind of is a quick kind of rundown into Smokehead. As it kind of started. I mean, kind of moving forward, it's really important for us, as you kind of mentioned, we're not for everybody, and we don't make there's no sort of airs and graces around people not liking us and not liking the liquid. But again, if you're up for a good time, I think Smokehead has the charisma to kind of take you on that journey. So yeah, I mean, working with yourself is an incredible privilege for us, and having such a credible musician, and an insanely sick musician as well, writing your own songs and writing a song for us it is an absolute privilege.
Well, man, it works both ways. I'm delighted to be drinking this stuff. Now, I've got some more questions. I've got some questions, but like this bottle that you mentioned, it's burning a hole in the table in front of me. So I don't know if you've got one there, but I'm going to have.
You know what? I feel kind of sorry. You've got that bottle. I've got this bottle.
Oh,
so we can kind of see. We can. we can see we can see the difference. I mean, God,
It's
I'm
an
the brand
optical
ambassador,
illusion.
and I get sent this. Yeah, I know. I mean, if you see it kind of in comparison to my face, it's tiny. So yeah, so let's just. I know. To be fair, I've got that many in the garage. I was just being lazy. I was in a bit of a rush, as you can see. I'm a little bit flustered. Smokehead 43% ABV. And again, I might just kind of take a wee sip at the bottle. Again, no airs and graces. So if you guys have a Smokehead with you out there, cheers. Yeah, I mean, the kind of breaking down what Islay traditionally is quite a polarizing spirit. As I mean, whiskey as a general is quite a polarizing spirit. It's not something that when you start drinking at kind of 18, 19 years old, or even younger if you're in Scotland, you're going to kind of pick up a natural taste for. It's only when you start kind of working on flavors. I mean, I kind of told this a lot when we were doing our Smokehead TVs. The first time I ever tried an Islay whiskey, I was 16 years old. I was with one of my best mates at the time. It was a bottle of, it was in a green bottle, very famous, smells like TCP. And I think I had such a good time for the first maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. And then it was like the worst night of my life for 4 or 5 hours after that. Because, I mean, it tasted rough on the way down, but it tasted 10 times worse on the way back up. So it took me a long time to actually get the appreciation back for Islay whiskey, because it's got peat on the nose. Do you mean, although Smokehead is what it says on the label, it's not offensively peaty, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
It's quite a sweet peat. I mean, every time I say that, I feel like I'm whistling through my teeth. It's quite a sweet peat.
Smoky as fuck. It's awful good.
Yeah, I mean, it is smoky, but I don't think it's that. It's not. It's a sweet smoke. It's not that leathery, tarry sort of.
Germaline.
Yeah, germaline. Yeah, I think that's the kind of closest thing to say.
It's flavour, man. I've got to come clean as well, because I'm going to get shot from all angles here. But initially, when I sat down with the Glengoyne folk, Stuart and Yvonne said, you should check this out, this might be a good pairing. And I was like, nah, I like Glengoyne. At that point, I wasn't a fan of Islay whiskies, or I didn't think I was, because there was the green bottle unmentionable that I'm pretty sure. See, I didn't even like it going down, and it really wasn't until but before I said, I kind of enthusiastically embraced the idea that we get paired up together as brands, if you want to, if we can. It's a bit posh sounding brands, isn't it? But as vibes, and so before that, I thought, well, I'm going to have to check this out, because I love the branding, I love the look of it, I love the attitude, I love everything about it. But I'm not really that sure about Islay whiskey. Well, I tell you, I was like a kid learning to eat olives.
100%.
Within about 2 hours, I was loving it. It's a developing palate kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it challenges your palate, because the first thing you get when you taste is you get that kind of immense smoke. So you get that big hit of smoke, and then you really need to go looking for the flavors. It's not something that, like Glengoyne. I mean, Glengoyne is an incredible dram. It's not. There's no smoke at all. Do you know what I mean? So everything is there on your palate when you taste it. Smokehead's different. You taste it, you taste the smoke, and then you need to go looking for it. You need to go looking for those flavors. So if I say things like sea salt and spice, do you mean that kind of suggestive tasting? You're probably going to be like, oh yeah, I can get a wee bit of sea salt there. I can get a wee bit of spice. It just takes the time.
I've drunk quite a lot of this. I mean, I don't mean just now, but over the last year and a half or so. And, these you just nailed it, man. It's pretty hardcore, but it's not as hardcore as some of the stuff we're going to talk about later. But it's not for the faint-hearted.
No, it's not.
I like it.
I know. I think that's like me as well. Do you mean I'm a little bit of an outlier? I mean, I'm not I'm not quite like Marmite, but I'm strong-willed, I'm opinionated, and it's kind of, I feel like I've found my place, if that makes sense. I kind of feel like I've found my place where I can talk about something that almost kind of embodies my lifestyle as well. And I think that's one thing that you'll probably feel as well. Once you kind of taste and you see the brand and you feel the attitude, and it's not until you can actually speak to people like me and you're like, oh, do you know what? It kind of resonated. I kind of got that a little bit. It makes sense to me now.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
man.
It's not like we're kind of, if you don't like it, then that's fine. Do you know what I mean? Go and find something you do like. But you can still have a party with us. Do you know what I mean? It's not. It's just everybody is individual, and that's the greatest thing in life. Do you know what I mean? Variety is the spice of life, as they say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now one of the reasons that we're talking about this particular flavour version of Smokehead is that you've got a new product that's about to launch, if it's not launched already, and it gives people a flavour. Tell us a little bit about the concept.
It does, yeah. So we have a kind of tasting tin coming out. So for people who don't kind of feel like they're ready to buy a full bottle, we've got bottles almost the same size as this. They're kind of 5 cl, so they give you about 50 mils of liquid, and that has the kind of breakdown of our products. So we have the Smokehead original, we have over here the Smokehead high voltage. See, I do have a big bottle of the high voltage. This one's my little baby, sitting at 58%. This is a little bit of me at the weekend, and then we have the Rum Rebel as well. And this is sitting at 46%, as you can kind of see in the bottle there. And this is absolutely incredible. An absolute amazing piece of juice. And yeah, you've managed to score a full bottle as well, so we can enjoy one of these at the weekend while we're making something, while we're cooking something.
Right, before, I've got to tell people this, because I'm obsessed with food, and I've realised over the last 6 months or so that I've got to know Mikey, that he's obsessed with food, and by complete coincidence we both made carnitas on Saturday night. Amazing.
I just said that to you. I mean, like, if that's a brotherhood, I've never seen what it is. You know, we're sharing the same vibe. You're on the shores of Loch Lomond, and I'm in bloody South Queensferry in Edinburgh. But we're still vibing together. Doesn't matter.
We shall have a big food and whiskey meetup soon, as soon as the rules allow us, I'm sure. And I think Ian was talking about that as well, so that'll be good. Now I'm going to play a song now, because it's live whiskey tasting and music, and. Yes. Now, when I talked about Glengoyne earlier on, again, I'm probably saying I always say a whole load of things that I shouldn't, but we're quite well into the relationship, and I got asked to go up to Glengoyne for World Music Day, and Margaret's pulling her face. Margaret's through there with headphones on, just she's looking at me as if I've come from outer space. Probably have. And anyway, we did a video for this song, which came out. The only problem is that I have to say, this is all about promoting responsible drinking. There are some lines in this song that you should not pay any attention to. They're purely notional. So this is a song called Whisky in My Blood. So I'm going to... Say hello to trouble. Don't mind if I do. Doesn't really worry me, it's all I ever knew. Whiskey in my blood and whiskey in my veins. The end of every hard day, it helps to be sane. Smoky taste of liquor, sweet smell of the grain. Sometimes it's hard for me even to recall my name. Whiskey in my blood and whiskey in my veins. The end of every hard day, it helps to ease my pain. Drinking with the devil, hearing that is hell. I'll be going away from here with lots of tales to tell. Whiskey in my blood and whiskey in my veins. devil's moonshine, you can feel it burn all the way to hell and back and more if you return. Whiskey in my blood and whiskey in my veins, the end of every hard day helps to ease my pain. Whiskey in my blood and whiskey in my veins, the end of every hard day helps to ease my pain. Whiskey in my blood and whiskey in my veins, the end of every hard day helps to ease my pain. Hey! Oh man! Whoa!
Bravo, sir, bravo.
Thanks, man. Well, it's really strange. I'm kind of perched on this stool because it's the only thing I've got here that doesn't have arms on it. I tried to do a live stream the other week, a concert, and I was, you know, I like to stand up when I play, but sometimes for this kind of thing, the problem I'll go away wandering over there and forget what I'm meant to be doing. So I've got to try and sit down and stay put so that the camera doesn't go all out of focus and stuff. Let's have a wee look. Here's Bill Keane, Melanie, thank you. Ian Zirins, cheers Ian Zirins. Hello, Ian Zirins is a whiskey fan too. Cheers Ian. Steve P, Auntie Glow. Gloria Jones in South Wales, love you Auntie Glow. Thanks Melanie. Craig, Brian Forge, good evening. Brian Forge actually won a bottle of Smokehead on one of the Smokehead supported live stream concerts.
Hope he drank it by now. Hope he's drank it by now.
Oh yeah, and he loved it. I got quite a lot of messages from somebody. Lindsay Thompson, hello Lindsay Thompson in Perth, how you doing? Oh, Martin Robertson, stop swearing. Nectar is the sherry bomb. Yes, now that's more like it. Somebody's mentioned the green bottle one. Hello Brian McDermott and Paul Smith, hello. Right, okay, I'm trying to see what's all going on in here. Anyway, thank you again for watching. If you've just joined us, it's myself, Dave Arcari, providing the music, and my good friend Mikey Sim, brand ambassador and supplier of Smokehead to satisfy my thirst. So, anyway, where are we now? I've lost the thread. See, I go and look at the comments, and it fucks my head up.
I think. See, the one thing when you're sitting kind of playing, it really just kind of resonates that how much I want to be listening to live music and having a beer, having a whiskey chaser, and just like being back to normality. Do you know what I mean? I'm a bit fucking bored of it, to be precise.
Oh man, you know, thankfully for live streams and thankfully to people like you guys at Smokehead, you know, we've managed to sort of stay afloat thanks to fans and people watching and supporters and people's enthusiasm. Really, without all this, man, it would be really impossible. I know the technology is a pain in the ass, but you know, it saved my ass as well. And you know, like thinking this year cancelled 2 US tours, all the summer festivals, everything went down the swanny. I've had 1 gig since last November, but last year Smokehead accompanied me on 2 US tours, Midwest and West Coast tour in the summertime when we launched the signature guitar, and then again for the East Coast tour in October time. And on these USA tours, you know, it just everybody our mission was to try and give lots of people at the shows backstage parties. If there was anybody else playing in the bill, if I was opening for somebody else or I had a support act, promoters, venue owners especially, try and get them into Smokehead. And actually your counterparts at Smokehead USA, Ed, and I think Elise, I'm not sure if Elise is working with Quest Brands anymore, but Ed's there. Ed was trying to set up a show in Tennessee for this year, but we're going to have to wait for that. But one of the ones that was really popular was this.
The High Voltage. I know. I think you on your second tour. You just went out to the States just after I got back, because I was out in Tennessee, out in Nashville and Chattanooga, and down in Atlanta just before you went out. So.
Oh wow!
It would have been nice if we could have enjoyed a High Voltage over there, eh? A little bit different than the dreich mist and fog that we have in Edinburgh today.
It was the same here. It's not been raining at least, and I did get out for a walk earlier, and you were at the gym. I can't go to the gym. I've not got the belly for it.
See, half the problem is, as I said, as you know, we've kind of talked about this. I love my food, and I also love my beer, and I also love my whiskey. So it becomes a problem over a prolonged period of time, that when you're kind of just stuck in the house and you don't really have anything else to do, and you've built a pizza oven in your back garden, and you're sitting kind of getting the barbecue fired up in an October rainy afternoon. You need to go to the gym. There needs to be a little bit of balance in the old life. So yeah.
Well, I've been trying to get out for a walk, out on a bike, or climb the hill. There's a hill right behind the house. Man, this is hardcore.
It is. I mean, it's a little bit more intense, as I would say, by the high voltage. I feel like I've got a normal size bottle now. So
yes!
Yeah, 58%. Cheers. 58%. I mean, it does sit on the kind of upper spectrum of percentage, but an incredible drop when you get past the kind of breathtaking intensity that you get as soon as you taste it.
I mean, it's really heavy duty, but it's
yeah. Really, I mean, we know that when you drink something at this high percentage, you're killing off a lot of your taste buds. I mean, obviously everybody knows that your taste buds regenerate after every day, and you get new ones that come along. So you're not doing yourself you're not doing yourself an injustice by drinking this stuff. But yeah, it does. You kill a lot of those kind of taste buds, or numb a lot of those taste buds. So every time you go back for another sip, it just develops and develops and develops. So yeah, it's almost like the Smokehead original, but just kind of amped up a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So taking it up a couple of notches.
What is the actual apart from the strength? What's the technical? How come it's stronger?
Well, when you're kind of making whiskey, you obviously have like something like a cask strength, for example. That's just being poured straight from the cask and is not being touched in any way, shape, or form. The original that we have has been diluted, so it's been diluted with distilled water, and it's been brought down to 43%. This has been distilled slightly and brought down to 58%. I mean, depending on what your kind of casking strength is after however many years, say you lose on average 2% a year kind of through the angel share, then you're probably losing about 2% of volume, alcohol by volume through that as well. So yeah, it just kind of depends on how much water you add, really, how much you want to dilute it. It's just like any spirit. Do you mean if you make kind of vodka, or you make moonshine, or whatever it is, as soon as you add a little bit of water, you're bringing down that ABV. And even at 58%, if you add a little bit of water to this, so you add a kind of double nip or a single nip, remember, always drink responsibly. You can add
like
the same. Yeah, you can add the same or a little bit less of water. And you're bringing that ABV down, so you can start kind of picking up on those flavors. But I like it just straight up and how it is. I do kind of like it cold, so I do usually if I'm having friends round, not at the moment, I'll put it in the fridge, and I'll whap this in the fridge kind of in the morning time. So by early evening, late afternoon, it's sitting at a kind of nice 2 to 4 degrees in the fridge. And I like drinking it cold, but I don't like it drinking diluted. So I don't like adding any ice, because as soon as you add ice, you dilute it. I like it at 58%, but I like it cold.
Now you've just absolutely, like, do you know, it's an amazing thing. I don't like ice in my whiskey at all. Sometimes I will put a drop or two in a talk. I mean, I actually brought some water in my studio at the moment, and I brought some water across my house and I'll be jugging. But you know, I realised that I'd only be putting the water there for show. But it's interesting. I've never ever thought of just putting the whiskey in the fridge. Never thought of that, man.
No. Again, so it's like, I think the one thing with whiskey, and I don't know if everybody who's watching this can agree with this or not. People always think that when you're talking to somebody about whiskey, they always know more than you. So whether it be me kind of talking to industry colleagues or whatever, I always kind of have the perception that they know a little bit more than I do. And I mean, it's just kind of taking the time to get whiskey more so than a lot of other products. really it takes time to make. Do you know what I mean? It takes time, it takes expertise, and you'll know that from spending time at Glengoyne. Nothing's kind of rushed there. And again, it's like making any whiskey. Nothing's rushed. It needs to sit in wood for 3 years and a day before you can even legally call it whiskey. So it's everything that's kind of gone in behind that's kind of built the flavors. And I mean, even getting into talking about the different wood types, it's absolutely mind-boggling. And I don't want to bore your followers to death.
Well, we will talk about some wood types in a little while, but do you know, this is for such a strong dram, and as I say, on one hand it's hardcore, but there is still like a wealth and depth of flavours in here that.
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing when you taste it, if anybody's got a bottle of 5 voltage with them, you're going to kind of get that kind of fresh, kind of like, it's going to kind of take your breath away. And then it kind of, because it's at that higher ABV, you've got kind of a lot more mouth coating that's going on, a lot more kind of drying of the palate. So your palate's going to start salivating, and you're going to kind of, it's going to start mixing with the whiskey. You're going to kind of get nutty and briny notes and kind of little bits of citrus coming through there as well once you're kind of just slightly out of that initial shock. And then the kind of finale, you've got that nice kind of slow fading smoke and that kind of nice salty tang that you've got at the end as well. So it just kind of lingers. It just kind of moves on and on. It's not like some other whiskies where you'll taste it when you brush your teeth when you go to your bed, but it does have that real kind of long lasting flavor.
I mean, it's a great sipper.
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
I could, I could be quite happy at the end of the day, albeit maybe a large one, but just one of these, and I'm just going to enjoy that over time.
Is it available in the US?
Yes, Margaret's asking. Margaret's asking. I should have been firing some of the questions. We've probably got questions. Anyway, Margaret was just chapping the window to say, is it available in the US? And
it is available in the US.
So Ed Call at Quest Brands, is Quest Brands still?
Yeah. So they're still distributing at the moment. So you can pick it up in the US. You can pick it up online in the US. We are kind of working on bringing it a little bit more kind of statewide. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly plug my phone in here. Bringing it a little bit more kind of statewide. So yeah, it is available in the US. Kind of cutting a long story short, yes, you can get it in the US.
And what about in Mexico?
Mexico, not in. I want to say in parts of Mexico, yes, but if I told you precisely, I'd be telling you a lie. So I'm not going to hang my hat on it.
The only reason I say you hang your sombrero. The only reason I say that is that when I was tagging Smokehead and Smokehead USA earlier on in the day to promote this, Smokehead Mexico came up, so I just tagged them in it anyway.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones I've always kind of crossed paths as well, but I've never actually had a one-on-one conversation with Smokehead Mexico. If you're out there, then hi, how you doing? I'd love to have a kind of chat with you, but I've not actually had a direct conversation with them, so I wouldn't want to tell you falsities. I wouldn't want to tell you be porky pies.
Right, I'm going to play another song. Now, before I play the song, we have a quick look. If you've got questions for Mikey, put them in the comments. You could address them to Margaret, and Margaret will tell me, and then I can tell Mikey. Let's have a wee look here. Barbara Tibbetts, good evening. Nice to get your email earlier, Barbara. Thank you for that. A prick. Not that kind of prick. A food test. Harry, hello. Who else is here? Luigi in Estonia. Okay, it's lovely to see you all. Oh, I need to see your new kayak, Bob, if it's shaped like a Smokehead bottle. Martin Robertson already. We've seen. Oh, look, goodness me, there's loads of comments down here. Hi, Steve again. Steve P. Alan King. How did you go? Where did you get this? Alan King, who is in Edinburgh or Fife or somewhere like that. Wants to know
you're fairly close to me, so you can pick it up in a lot of the kind of specialist retailers. You can also pick it up in Tesco. You can pick it up in Sainsbury's. You can pick it up in Morrison's. If there's a local supermarket close to you there, you can also pick it in some of the specialist retailers as well, like Robert Graham in the centre of Edinburgh, as well as Raw Mile Whiskies and the guys on the bridges as well. So yeah, there's few places, but probably the most convenient way to pick it up is at one of your multiple retailers, so kind of Tesco or Sainsbury's or Morrison. So you can pick them up,
and
pick it up there.
The tasting tin that's coming with a high voltage normal, and the other one that we'll talk about in a little while, is that going to be available at retail as well, or is that only through the website?
You can pick it up on our website, so it'll be going on our website shortly if it isn't already so, and you can pick it up on our website. We also have a lot of different bits of merch as well. So obviously we're kind of coming into the festive season where we're all going to be buying each other gifts. So you can pick up some nice merch, and we'll be throwing some stellar deals your way as well.
I realised that I must have done something have I kicked the camera? I don't know what I've done. Oh dear me, look, there's some more bottles. Look,
there we go.
There's more over here. Right, I'm going to play another tune. And because this is high voltage, this song is called Got Me Electric. Go tell my rider, she don't want to know about a crazy notion, gonna make things grow. Something's gotta change, it's not gonna go. Get myself electric, see what I can do. Not like nothing new, been around a while. When I hear it, baby, I can't help but smile. Go see my mind, see what we can do. Get myself electric, see what I can do. Come on! Everybody's doing it, it's the way to go. Time to do it different, try it, wait and whoa. Go back a while, forget what went before. Get myself electric, give myself a trial. Time keeps a rolling and just getting near. Other ways to go, line is getting clear. Can't pay my way, my stamp is running dry. Get myself electric, get me another beer. Electric's gonna get me another beer. It's funny being perched the way up here. I'll tell you what I noticed here. That high voltage has made my nose start to run. Oh man, so as well as a bad hair day, I'm having a bad nose day. Apologies if you saw any additives there. Oh man, right, let's have a wee look and see what's going. I find it hard to see this without my iPad. I've got my iPad without my glasses.
I thought you said your eye patch there nearly.
Hi Neil Madden, which type would you recommend for an English Smokehead virgin? Well, Neil, I don't know what Mikey would have to say, but I would say stay tuned in. The next one, or one of the other ones I'm going to tell you about in a minute. Runny nose, COVID alert. No, COVID. Does COVID not make you dry up? You might have a dry cough. I've got all sorts of gubbins coming out here. That's hello, Luke. Thanks, man. We both know you, Luke. Who else is in here? Thanks, Adrian Thomas. Patricia. Gordon Angel. Hello. Good evening, Gordon. Hope you and Karine are doing well. Who else is in here? Oh, we've got some people in Finland and Estonia. That's nice. Oh, thanks, Barry. You like the tricone? Barry is one of my online session buddies. Drew Littlejohn, how you doing? You can ask where you can buy a bottle now, you know. And you can also get it online at the Smokehead shop. Right.
You can. Smokehead.com. You can pick up everything on smokehead.com.
Now, before we go on and talk about the third version, flavour, edition that's in the tasting tin, if I look up, it's because I'm looking at Mikey up there. If I want to look at you all out in Facebook land, you're down here. I'm trying to give you both equal attention. Oh, Margaret was moving through there. I thought she was maybe going to give us a question. So before we reveal the third one, because I want to refer to the Smokehead TV series, because up until very recently, my very favourite edition of Smokehead was the Sherry Bomb. And when you were doing the Smokehead TV series on Instagram over the summertime on Sundays, and I was privileged to be a guest on one of them, and even more privileged that you concocted the Dave Arcari cocktail. Can you remind me a bit and tell people about the cocktail?
I can. So obviously your kind of previous favourite, if not one of your second favourite, we'll say for argument's sake, was the Smokehead Sherry Bomb. And Smokehead Sherry Bomb is finished in sherry casks. So kind of takes on a real spicy, rich, orangey kind of almost kind of clovey taste. And one of the things that I was kind of doing was obviously showing people how to make cocktails and how you could go out to the supermarket and buy some products and build your own drinks in the house with Smokehead. And I thought it would be a fitting tribute to somebody who's given Smokehead so much over the last year and a half, 2 years, to create a cocktail for you. So the cocktail was called This Ain't No Arcari Blues. And you had in there, you had Smokehead Sherry Bomb, you had some orange liqueur because you've got that nice kind of sweetness in your personality. You had a couple bar spoons of lemon juice because you have that nice bitterness in your personality. You have a couple of dashes of bitters because you have a little edge. And I used kind of grapefruit bitters there, so you kind of get a little bit more aromatic, and it was topped up with ginger beer because you've got that nice fieriness. So it was just kind of a nice kind of long, tall drink, because I want to say we were in the middle of the summer at that point. We were, yeah. So it would have been kind of end of May, July. So I think it was when we had.
Yes, because
it's when we had some good weather.
Internet. Yeah, and we still had terrible internet connection.
Yeah.
So our technical issues kind of screw things a little bit.
No, it was all good. It's one of those technical gremlins you can never, when everybody's kind of going live and there's 101 different kind of things going on, you live and learn, as they say. I mean, I was always making constant adaptations. I mean, I was live for 10 Sundays in a row, it seemed like. So it was kind of 10 weeks.
But they were 10 great. I watched every one of them, I think, and they were brilliant. And it's interesting because that cocktail, you had a lot of fun making it until the bottle of Sherry Bomb was finished. We didn't have grapefruit bitter, so I just used Angostura, but it was really good, and Margaret loved it. It was our summer cocktail of choice.
Yeah, I think it's one thing that we're not very protective over. If you want to buy a bottle of Smokehead and want to make a drink that's going to heighten your experience, I mean, why the hell would you not do that?
Exactly.
You spend your money however the hell you want. So again, I like Smokehead in a cocktail because, as we've mentioned already, it's flavour.
Absolutely.
So it brings out that kind of nice richness of the Smokehead Sherry Bomb. So yeah.
And really, up until very recently, and how recently, Sherry Bomb was my absolute favourite. And it's a shame that it's not in the tasting tin, but actually, what is even better, because it's my new favourite,
is the new Smokehead Rum Rebel.
Absolutely. It's just, we did I think it was the week it came out, I did a live stream and we had some of this for me to have my first sip of during the live stream. And also there was a bottle, or maybe even 2 bottles to go. I think Laurie and Sylvan from memory in the Mullican Tire. I think she won a bottle. Was it this or was it something else she won? I don't know. I don't remember. All I know is that I enjoyed myself that night. And I have to say that this is my new favourite. I mean, it's a close thing with Rum Rebel, with Sherry Bomb and all the other ones, but this is kind of just edged, for me personally, this has edged its way in.
Yeah.
And I need you to tell us a little about it, Mikey, because
yeah,
there's also Rum Riot, which is or was export only. Does that still exist? What's the story, man?
So Rum Riot still is a global travel retail exclusive, so you can only kind of pick that up in airports. And this is our kind of twist for domestic markets. And yeah, we finish it, and then kind of going back to one of your followers' questions about which one would I recommend? Was he from Englishshire? Was it an Englishshire gentleman?
Yes, he was from down south.
From
we wouldn't hold that against you.
Yeah. So for an Englishshire
Isla
Virgin, I would recommend this Rum Rebel because one, we take original Smokehead, then we finish it in Caribbean rum casks. So what the Caribbean rum casks? Why would we do that? Does it make sense? Yes, it does, because when you add rum into a cask, you get a high level of evaporation because obviously they're in the Caribbean. So I think they average about 10% liquid loss a year. However long it actually, so however long it lasts in that cask. And when we add the Smokehead into the rum cask, it gives us that, it almost softens the kind of peat a little bit. It brings out kind of burnt marshmallows, softened with kind of like caramelized fruits. I mean, it really is an incredible nip. And I think if you've not got into Islay, or you've not had an Islay yet, or you've not had a Smokehead yet, this is probably the best place to start, because it's the least challenging. I mean, is that true? I mean, it's quite difficult to say because it is quite complex. It's probably the least.
Could you maybe explain the size of the glass?
Sorry, we had a random question, and it wasn't even from somebody online. It was from Margaret, who's explained the size of the glass. So we'll do that in a minute. Sorry, Mikey. Sorry to interrupt. Carry on, because this is the best whiskey I've ever tasted.
Yeah. So I mean, while it kind of hangs in those Caribbean rum casks, you get that kind of nice, sweet, kind of fat. It's almost kind of burnt marshmallows, as I mentioned, kind of tropical fruits. You almost kind of get like caramelized bacon in there as well. It still has that kind of bite. It's got that kind of mouth coating feel that you almost have when you kind of chew on a crispy piece of bacon.
Everything's better with bacon. Apologies to any vegetarians, but everything is better with bacon.
Yeah, any vegetarians or vegans, I have a personal preference. I always kind of try and bring things back to food, because food is something that I've got a lot of memories of. Do you know what I mean? So I taste something, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, like that. I can taste. When we're both cooking our carnitas, for example, do you know what I mean? I made this kind of jalapeno salsa, and kind of, and I've never kind of quite tasted anything like it, and it had quite a lot of oil in it, and I was like, it kind of give it that kind of creamy sensation, but it was like hot, but also a little bit kind of like earthy, and I'll always remember that. So if I ever taste a whiskey, it'll take me back to that kind of thing that I've eaten. And I know obviously I am a professional and I do work in this industry and I spend a lot of time tasting things, but if you want to kind of adapt your knowledge or your palate, just take it back to memories. Do you know what I mean? We used to have an old kind of tannery that, like, I'm from a place called Blairno, just outside Edinburgh. And there's a kind of old tannery that used to be there. I used to remember smelling it as a kid. And when I first kind of tasted Smokehead, I was like, oh, do you know, that kind of takes me back to that kind of smell that I'd be like, oh, that's a tannery. Do you know, because it had such a distinct smell. It kind of took me back, transported me back to that time when I was a little kid and rolling down the windows. It used to get all electric windows back in the day, rolling down the windows in my mum's car and being like, oh, what's that smell? Oh, it's a tannery. So yeah. So yeah, quite thick, kind of that kind of sea spray, dry spice, banana, dark wood, and you've got that kind of like caramelized bacon in there as well. That kind of nice, crispy, almost kind of coats your mouth. I don't know if there's a vegan or a vegetarian alternative. I'm not entirely sure what you could.
It's like
could say.
a very savoury seitan.
There we go.
Because despite being a unashamed carnivore, I also like cooking a lot with tofu and seitan, making seitan from scratch and all that kind of shit. It doesn't have to be meat. Meat's good. It helps. Octopus on the Smokehead feasts, man. If you take a look at the Smokehead website and look at the Smokehead feasts, and you will see octopus and whiskey to die for.
Yeah, I know that was actually quite incredible. The old Smokehead feast, they were insane. But yeah, the guys are trying to smoke, and I mean, like a venison Smokehead donut. I mean, quite incredible. But yeah, so it kind of finishes off a wee bit of nutmeg and kind of spice and caramel, and it's all round an amazing juice. So yeah, if you're looking as a virgin to pick up a bottle, that's probably one that I would recommend. And there's a couple of whiskey cocktails on there which we recommend as well. So this was actually launched on International Rum Day because we don't do things normally. So when you're meant to be celebrating rum, we launched Rum Rebel, and we kind of own a cocktail called the Smokito. So it's a kind of our twist on a mojito, but with Smokehead. And again,
I have a bottle of Smokito in the house. I should have brought it over. I thought Margaret might have snaffled it by now, but I haven't tasted it yet.
Oh, you need to pop it in the fridge and pour it over some ice, and it's awesome. If you like a mojito, you get that kind of fresh mint and lime, and it's awesome.
Right, let's have a wee look here. Neil Madden's in Hull, so not so far. Daughter lives in York. You'll be fine. Hello, Patricia in France. You're very fond of frisky. Hello, Les. You're very fond of frisky. No, you're very fond of... You're very fond of whiskey. That was a tongue twister. It's like I've got a song called Brexit Blues, and I more often than not end up calling it Breakfast Blues. Who else is speaking? Patricia wants advice. Ian Zill's anyone in the north of England? Booth Supermarket stock Smokehead. Well, thanks, Ian.
Booths do, yeah. In the north.
Yes, Gordon Angel is just down the road from us here. Indeed, Stephen Flanagan, there'll be a big Loch Lomond side breakfast tomorrow. Yes, there will be, Stephen. Charlie Fraser, how you doing? Okay, it's nice to see so many folk watching. Right, we'll soon put paid to the number of people watching. I'm going to play another song. And then we'll carry on our chat. Because this... Actually, before I play the song, Mikey, is there any difference between Rum Rebel and Rum Rebel and Rum Riot?
There's slight kind of intricacies, yeah, but they are relatively similar.
You won't be disappointed then.
You won't be disappointed. No, yeah. If you've tried one, then you'll like the other. Yeah, it's one to definitely get your hands on.
Awesome. I think Margaret's on the chat in the comments, hopefully. So she's. Actually, we haven't had our dinner yet, and because I'm doing this, Margaret's meant to be in the house cooking dinner, but she's in the studio making sure that I don't make an arse of myself. And she's making, tonight we're having sesame orange chicken and broccoli noodles.
Oh, that sounds outstanding.
But you had, did you say you had haddock tacos earlier?
Yeah, smoked haddock tacos. Yeah. The good lady made some just for me, perfectly coming in from the gym and getting a shower and getting ready. I had some smoked haddock tacos, so I ran them down as quick as I could.
Margaret's going to say something.
Luigi's asking about Estonia.
Our pal Luigi in Estonia is asking, do you know if Smokehead is available in Estonia or any of the Baltic states?
I want to say yes, it is available in some of the Baltic states. I can find out for you, and we can post a comment back on the live feed.
And also, I mean, even if it's not available in some countries at retail, can people buy it online? Will it ship to most countries?
Yeah, it ships to most countries, so you can buy everything on smokehead.com, www.smokehead.com. You can pop on there and we can send stuff out to you. So yeah, I want to say it is available in a few of the Baltic states. I'm just not entirely sure where. I should have been more prepared. I should have been prepared for an international audience, knowing yourself, Dave Arcari.
Well, we were meant to be in Estonia and Latvia and Finland a few weeks ago, but that's going to be next year as well. So, well. Anyway, meantime, in case people are wanting live music, I'm going to play another song. This song is called, well, there's a story to this song. And I don't know if Liddy's watching from Sweden, but there could be a Dave Arcari signature 4-string metal-bodied contraption inspired with Smokehead coming soon from Sweden. So I think both Mikey, you and I are waiting with eagerness, because I think we need some in the Smokehead. Smokehead's people need to sample these things as well. Anyway, that's another story. This story is this is a song. I've just written a new song called Devil's Left Hand, and excuse me a sec. This one is really, it's too good not to drink it.
I know.
So I've just written a song called Devil's Left Hand, and Steve Earle has got this big fancy ass tune called Devil's Right Hand, and by absolute coincidence I got asked to play a show with Mr. Steve Earle. Or in America, if I see Steve Earle, they think I'm saying Earl as in Errol Brown, but Steve Earle. And he's got this famous ass tune called Devil's Right Hand, which has been covered by Cash and all sorts of people, as well as, of course, himself, played by himself. And I decided to play it for the very first time in front of Steve Earle and 2,500 rabid Steve Earle fans. And it wasn't far from you, Mikey. It was the Alhambra Theatre in Dunfermline. And
I know where you are.
It was what I would call a do or die moment. But he liked it, they liked it, and I lived to tell the tale, and it goes a bit like this. Last night I met an old friend, shook him by the hand. Something strange was happening, so he gave me his left hand. When I shook his hand, it didn't feel so good, but on his little finger a broken bottle stood. Devil's left hand reached across the sticks, and I drank all his whiskey and learned some of his tricks. Come on! He went into the hallway, dark and dingy place. When he turned toward me, I didn't recognize his face. The devil's left hand reached across the stakes. I drank all his whiskey and learned some of his tricks. Oh yeah! Come on! Come on, guitar! Well, when the lift door opened, was way below the ground. Just an empty bar room, I didn't hear a sound. The devil's left hand reached across the sticks. I drank all his whiskey and learned some of his tricks. Oh yeah! Come on! Well, suddenly there's a crowding. It's getting out of control. I whipped his ass and told him, you'll never win my soul. The devil's left hand reached across the sticks. Oh, I drank all his whiskey and learned some of his tricks. The devil's left hand reached across the sticks. I whipped his ass and told him, you'll never win my soul.
Awesome.
Thanks, man. That'll be Devil's Left Hand. I nearly gave myself a double hernia there. Or maybe a triple one. My nose is still running and I've got lockdown here. On the last live, I've got a live stream. I'm not a live stream. I'm doing a Zoom concert next Monday the 16th. And it's all influences. It's covers of songs from people that influenced me when I started out playing guitar and was going busking in Glasgow and Wishaw and Kirkcaldy. And I kind of had a few years where I just kind of held it together by busking and singing Bobby Dylan songs and stuff. So a lot of that shit is going to be on that live stream next week in the Zoom concert. So check it out. Anyway, sorry, that was my little commercial break.
Definitely, I'll open up a bottle of Rum Rebel and I'll sit and drink my night away. Responsibly.
We'll
I
get
drink
that
my
sorted,
beer
man.
responsibly.
We'll get that sorted. I'll say now. I was going to have another wee lookie here and see what's happening on the iPad world. I'm away back at. Oh, jeez. So for some reason, first signs, Gordon. Thanks, Hunter. How you doing, Hunter Innes? Stevie Hughes, Bob Wrinkley. Who's Bobby Dylan? Bob Wrinkley Bottom. Who's Bobby Wrinkley Bottom? Bob Wrinkley Bottom. Linda Becker. Hello. How you doing, Stevie Hughes? Hunter Innes. Ian Zins. Chris Duke. How you doing, man? Your guitar builds are looking good, Chris. And you like a whiskey as well. Adrian Thomas, thank you. And Melanie. Oh, you like that one. Hey, Melanie. We're Hovis and Steps with Hovis carpet sliding. Hovis and Steps are Melanie, who lives down, I don't know, she's somewhere down south. But her dogs go fucking mental when I play, apparently. And one of them, I think it's Hovis, goes carpet sliding. I told her that tonight I'd probably be carpet sliding as well. Anyway, here we go. Patricia, cool and can find it, and it only reminds me of this window on the Blues to Entertainment. Oh, that's lovely, thank you. Right, anyway, I'm going to put this down now and stop being distracted, because it's a bit like going away and saying, oh, there's my pal Mikey over there. So, we've done that. What else is happening, Mikey? What's Smokehead got coming our way? The tins.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously there's the tins, and we've got some nice merch that you guys can grab on the website as well. We've got some kind of plans leading into 2021. It's just as everybody will know, it's just a challenge at the moment. So it's trying to be as kind of clever as possible about how we plan things, and fingers crossed we'll get back to kind of normality as quick as we can, and we can all kind of crack on and get around the campfire and sit, drink some whiskeys, get around the gig and have a good time. So
I mean, things are looking up, and I don't want to put you on the spot here, but
I feel like you're gonna
the things like Brexit, and I mean, what happened in America at the weekend is so fucking great as far as I'm concerned, because Trump is exactly what Jerry Godley refers to him as. I'm going to try and be polite on here because there might be families watching. There usually are, and their kids have a fucking epi when I swear. But I've not said any bad words yet, but Trump is one of these bad words. And now that he's on the way out, for me personally, and I'm not asking about that, but generally, with America and with Brexit, is it good for the whiskey industry? Is it bad for the... What does it spell for the whiskey industry?
Yeah, well, I think obviously there's I don't know if anybody kind of knows the whiskey industry on a kind of closer level, but the States put a 25% import tax onto single malt whiskey going into the States last year, 2 years ago. Jesus, it seems like a long time ago. So that's like an instant kind of whack. Yeah, so it's a kind of instant whack on what we were importing into the United States. 25% is massive. And then the EU and the UK put a kind of 25% tax on imports into the EU, and that's kind of, it's difficult for both sides of the parties. I mean, single malt, it's difficult when you have to then shell out another 25% on every single case that you're sending out to the States, and then you imagine people aren't going to pay an extra 25% for your bottles just because the American government have put an import tax on there. And exactly the same with bourbon and American whiskies. We're not going to pay 25% on top of what these guys are sending in to us as well. So it's bad for both sides of the party. So fingers crossed. Now things have slightly changed over the pond. We shall get back to a more kind of level playing field, and instantly, if we can get rid of this 25% import tax,
fingers crossed, man. We can
get back to trying to grow the States with Smokehead, because it's just impossible at the moment when you've got such a high percentage tax on imports for a relatively small brand. For us, I mean, it's not a big challenge for somebody like Jack Daniels who's sending that much bourbon into the UK. It's not that it's not.
But man, the thing is that this is special.
Yeah.
And you probably found the same when you were in the States yourself, Mikey, that you go into a cork and barrel or a liquor store, wherever, and you can when you can buy a litre of spirit of either homegrown bourbon or vodka for about, $15 a litre.
Yeah, I know.
It's tough if you're looking for whiskey. And I mean, I've been lucky that, I've been with you guys and Glengoyne in the past, so I've maybe not had to source quite so much as I would have normally. But one time we were in New York. I've got a cousin, Jenny, who I don't know if she's watching. She stays in the Upper East Side in New York. And if it wasn't for Jenny, I would probably have never have toured the States. She was the one that encouraged me to go through the visa process, told me it would be all right, and has just stood by us and supported us. And all my family over there, in fact, have done that. But anyway, just up from Jenny in Manhattan, there's a place called Cork and Barrel. And all the single malts, in fact, even the blends, were all like $50 or $60 a bottle. And I did find one, an unchilled filter from another distillery, not Glengoyne, that's quite close to here. I'm not going to say who they are. $26. And I thought it was a mistake, but a couple of subsequent visits, we've still managed to get that whiskey at $26, and I'm not quite sure why.
I don't know. It's crazy. I mean,
I think it's a mistake. Actually, I think they've fucked it up somewhere.
They think there's all. I mean, making whiskey is an expensive process. I mean, you've got, not only do you have to store this stuff for 3 years and a day before you can call it whiskey, it's also, you've got the production side with the grain. You've got the water. You've got the energy. You've got. I mean, the biggest thing is obviously storage space. I mean, when you can make it and you've got enough storage space, you will make returns, but it's a long, drawn out process. I mean, nobody gets into whiskey to make money tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Whereas slightly different.
Sounds a bit like music, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly different with something like gin, where you can make gin in a day. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. You can make gin today and you can sell it tomorrow and you can make cash, but whiskey you can't. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Something like that, $26. I mean, Jesus,
I don't like
making money. Yeah, again, it's all kind of personal preference, isn't it? All subjective. But yeah, I mean, with the kind of Brexit thing, I think there will be implications. Of course, there will with any sort of exports. It doesn't matter if it's whiskey, salmon, langoustines, Harris Tweed, music, whatever it is. There will be slight implications. Obviously, it's just another hurdle that we just need to kind of work through and try and kind of get past. But we're still working hard to get whiskey, ship it worldwide. That's one of Scotland's greatest exports, is this old dram. So yeah, I think we're stubborn enough, as you'll know, to just kind of work through things and try and make it work.
Absolutely, man. Well, listen, I reckon it's time we should probably wind up now, but it's been really great. Well, of course, I've had a whale of a time tasting, and I'll have a whale of a time tasting over the next couple of days as well. Thank you. But it's been really interesting to kind of hear a little bit more. I know we've talked about a lot of these things over the last few months, but I think it's really nice for people to get a chance to hear not from me rabbiting on, but from you. So a huge thank you for
no, it's not a problem. I think no, thank you as well. I mean, you're a massive asset to Smokehead, and long may it continue. And thanks very much for your hard work on the brand over the last year and a half as well. And thanks very much for inviting me on a dreary Monday night to have a little bit of a gas. A little bit of a blether, as we say.
Absolutely,
so yeah.
Man. I'm just going to check a few more before we. Do you sell? Neil Madden's asking if you sell in Japan.
We do. Where precisely, I'm not entirely sure, but we do sell in Japan. We sell in Japan, Taiwan, China, Hong Kong.
And Gordon Angel is now saying, now I think, if I remember rightly, I think Gordon Angel maybe won a bottle of Glengoyne in a past live stream. Is saying favourite was Glengoyne, but now Smokehead. So you've jumped out the frying pan into the fire.
Thanks for that, mate.
Who else is in here? We have good people here. Still time for carpet sliding. Well, I'm not going to play any more songs because I've had rather too much whiskey now, and I have to promote drinking responsibly. It might cease to be responsible after I finish this live stream while Margaret's cooking the dinner. But once again, I want to say a huge big thanks to you, Mikey. It's been fucking great talking, man. And I hope people have enjoyed it. And thank you to everybody for watching and listening and being part of the whole thing. Thanks, man.
It's awesome. Cheers, mate.
We'll speak later on. Cheers, man.
See you after.